stove's gonna come in a bag similar to this, not this exact one. One thing I really like about this setup is it's actually super easy to fully assemble. So you got a bottom, give it some side walls. What's really nice is everything kind of locks in place. You have these little curled in corners. So you try to slide them in. Look how easy that is. If that's not simple, I don't know what is. When we're assembling the top, you can always want to make sure that the back hole for the pipe is in the back, not like this. So that's a no-go on the front. It goes in the back. Set this up right here. What's really great too about these little legs, you can spin these bottom parts out, little feet, and that way you can have a little bit more grip down in there. You could flip them around too if you want to get a little bit more grip part on there. And then it's not actually threaded all the way up, so it makes it super easy to put these in place. But these are just the wing nuts. They'll go this way facing downwards, so those flat parts on the upper side. I'm gonna take this top ones off. What I like to do when I'm ever building a stove, I like to take the top lid, take it completely off, and put these little pieces here. Because you never know, you have snow, you have dirt on the ground, whatever it may be, you start taking stuff off, it's dark out, and you set them down, they fall off, they go in some little, I don't know, vegetation or anything like that, and you kind of lose them. So I always try to keep these on something. And then when you're putting this together, just kind of setting aside. And this is what makes this really nice too, is these will go right up in that sleeved area. Then when I'm first, the stove obviously hasn't been burned in yet. I do not like to really crank on everything and make it really tight because everything's going to expand and move around. Boom. Kind of always want to make sure too, if you're assembling this, you don't want this thing to be, you know, like pinched down in there when it gets tight, but it's really easy to open up. That way you can move it back and forth later. Front door, GOHUNT logo upwards in the correct position. Slides right in. I have a little flute here. I usually like to make this go in the back, the little handle. That way if you're, you know, hunting with you and your friend, you guys can easily both adjust this by reaching around the back. Because if you put it in the side, you're gonna be reaching around and grabbing it. It's gonna be a little hot in this area. And down below there's these little legs that go into here. Once you get it in there, give it a little twist and it's locked in. So now it's not going to, you know, fall off and move on you. Spark arrestor, really easy. It sets inside here. Great feature about that. Once you had your stovepipe, you know, on there, you need to clean this off after a while. You just pop it off. You can clean it off really easy. It goes on like that. Now we're going to unfold the actual pipe and then get to full length and roll it up really carefully. Ideally, I'll probably explain this again, but ideally you're going to probably want to do this at home on some carpet so you don't get a bunch of dings on here. Okay, so now we're going to walk through stovepipe assembly. So this is exactly how the pipe's going to look when you get it. It's going to be in its compact form. The ring's going to be on here, and then it's simply just going to be unraveling it and then going from compact form to rolling it lengthwise. So it sounds really complicated, but it's actually very easy. Again, I would definitely recommend do this at home on some carpet. It's gonna make it a lot easier. Gloves are probably gonna be a great thing to do because, you know, there could be some sharp corners, but we do have rounded corners on here, so it's gonna alleviate you, stabbing yourself. So you're gonna wanna roll it all the way out lengthwise. Maybe pull it a little bit that way. And then let's start at the bottom. Let's go uphill. I'm just gonna roll this. Rolls onto itself. And what you're really trying to do is get out all these straight lines when you fold it. I'm just going to slide a ring on. Okay, toss me a couple more. So that's basically how you would do this. Again, carpet's gonna be a lot easier. You're gonna try to just make sure it's got, all round and try to avoid creasing it. It's gonna make it a lot easier once you burn it in, because then it's gonna have memory both ways. So I actually want to roll for you a lot easier. So once you're in the field, it's actually super, super quick. Put it into the hole that's up on top. It's already pre-cut. You're gonna wanna just slide it up. And that way you're not trying to have it all length out, hitting the sidewalls as you're putting it up through there. And it can just like sit here and hang for a little bit. But that's the easy way to install that. All right, so if you want to use this little chimney ring, easiest way to do that, make it really wide. Slide it up on here, get up a little higher. I like to take these rings and put it up a little bit. And if you want to make this stay right now while I'm getting it installed, you can just kind of tighten this on here. That way it's not going to slide down. For this sort of setup right now, ideally, you're gonna have two people laying in here. This is a downhill right now, but if I was sleeping in here and it wasn't a downhill, I would prefer this to be flipped around and facing it. That way, my head would be here normally, and I'd be laying this way. That way I can easy access the wood when I'm trying to stoke it. So you can lift this up, get this roughly in position. Just wanna make this a little bit bigger, and that's why I put these rings, I kind of raise these rings up. That way it's going to give me a little bit to open this bottom. It's going to go over top of it just like that. And then you can slide the chimney ring down. Make it loose. And this is just nice because it's going to grip it. That way if it's a really windy situation, or just to add extra stability on here. And a lot of times you can slide this right into the spring down below, and that won't impede you being able to work that, but it helps it hold. Just slide it right in there. Tighten this up. Make sure it's down far enough so it's gonna grab onto the chimney flue. You don't have to wrench this. This is not something you're working on your pickup truck and you need to actually just crank on it super tight. Put that there. I might drop this one a little bit lower and just kind of make sure those are spaced out. Angle of this is not really a big concern. I like to keep it tucked up here next to the pipe. That way this gives me a lot of room. But if I'm sleeping with my head down there and want to access this easier, you can move this around in the shelter how you see fit. Or if you're just sleeping by yourself, maybe I'm sleeping on that side, might be a good option to put the stove in the shelter this way. That way, if I'm laying there, I can easy access in the front. Right now I want to walk through on the front and just give you a look at this, talk about these rings. So don't ask me how, but before I went out hunting once, I actually forgot my ring somehow and had to improvise. So knowing that and knowing the ability to lose some of these rings, we actually created a cool handy feature on the front. So see all these little rings that we have here? You can actually undo these rings and combine them together to create an extra stovepipe ring if you do need one. So all I gotta do is untwist these. And they're gonna come out, okay? And then now we're going to assemble these together. Like so. And when you assemble that together, that makes an extra ring. So in a sense, you do have, two extra rings. You could combine these as well. And then you just got to be careful when you're opening it, but you have an extra ring. Super cool feature. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the first burn in of the stove. Again, recommend you do this at home in your backyard, somewhere safe. But we're out here, so we're just gonna start building the fire and then roughly let the fire go, 30, 40 minutes and just let everything burn, let everything get settled in. Let it start to get dark everywhere. Let the stovepipe start heating up to get the memory. So when we roll it back up again, it's gonna make it super easy to take it down and put it back together again. So we're just gonna try to do my best here to make a little fire with some little pieces of wood that we found. As you can see, stovepipe's starting to get a little hot. I got the little chimney flue thing angled upwards, letting a lot of air in right now. And obviously the vent in the front's open because we're trying to burn it through. So we're just gonna keep filling it full of wood and let this go, like I said, 30, 40 minutes just to get everything burnt in, get a nice color on everything, get everything just kind of meshed together. So it's all nice and solid. So the next time we can tighten everything down, and that way it'll give the stovepipe some memory as well. So pretty easy process to burn it in, but definitely want to burn it in before you go out in the field. And again, like I said earlier, avoiding touching it. Not going to get all those fingerprints from your oils of your hands and stuff like that on it. But I'm really glad that I lit that fire right away, so you guys won't be making fun of my fire starting skills. All right, so right now I'm going to walk through exactly how to disassemble the stovepipe. Get a lot of questions about how it actually works because it kind of seems confusing when you think about it. But it's actually easy. Again, just be careful not to cut yourself. I like to move all the rings to the outside slowly and then take them off. Again, don't lose your rings. Go back this opposite way. And then now you see how it's going to gain some memory again. So when you're assembling it later, it's going to be a lot easier than that first time. If you're actually trying to be really quiet because you're trying to move camp, you can push it against the ground really quietly. I'd obviously use something softer than a bunch of rocks, you know, and then you can kind of go, you know, really quietly to make a bunch of noise. And the whole time while I'm doing this, I'm keeping tension on it because I don't want to let this loose and expand because then I can't get the rings on it. Okay. Place all the rings on, get them kind of in the center, and then kind of start letting it loose. And then your rings will stay on there. And this is the point where you want to be cautious because if you grab it and you have it too tight and you tip it around, you could drop some rings. So if you're going to move it anywhere, maybe grab both sides of it just to make sure you don't lose those. But that's how you disassemble it. Super easy, super quick. All right, that's a run through of GOHUNT's titanium wood burning stove assembly, burning it in the first time, you know, doing things with the stovepipe, getting that burned in, getting that assembled, deassembling it. And yeah, just all the features on it makes it a super slick setup. It's actually, as you saw, very easy to set up. You're not having to deal with trying to stick these legs through here and try to get into the hole. All these features just make it so it's going to be an amazing little piece of your backcountry, you know, peace of mind. Available at GOHUNT Gear Shop. Got any questions on it? Drop them down below. Happy to answer anything you guys got, and looking forward to seeing everyone using it this fall.